Development of Islamic culture through the Quran and the Hadiths. Islamic society was a religion-centered society in which everything about their daily lives was based on its central religious text, the Quran. The contents of the Quran had been passed down orally until they were written down in Arabic language 20 years after the death of Muhammad. Translating the Quran was strictly prohibited out of fear that the translation might distort the teachings of Allah. For that reason, the Arabic language used in the Quran became the foundation of the Islamic culture. In Islamic society, men were allowed to have many wives and eating pork was prohibited. All of the customs were based on the teachings of the Quran. Hadiths in Islam are records of the words, actions, and the silent approval of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. In principle, Muslims are required to follow the words and actions of Muhammad as recorded in Hadiths as well as in the Quran. While researching these religious texts, Muslims were able to advance theology and law.
What are the 5 responsibilities Muslims must follow? 1. A testimony of faith that there is no deity but God. Muhammad is the messenger of God. 2. Worship to Allah 5 times a day facing Mecca, where the Kaaba is located. 3. During Ramadan, the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, Muslims do not eat or drink during the daytime. Through this fasting, Muslims promise not to fall into the temptations of the world, throw away their greed, and live properly. 4. Muslims donate 2.5% of their annual net profit to the poor in Muslim communities. 5. The pilgrimage is only for Muslims who are healthy and have financial resources. Through the pilgrimage, Muslims feel that all Muslims in the world are brothers and equal beings.
Islamic merchants contribute to global exchanges. In the Islamic world, people were passionate about improving transportation routes and promoting commercial activities. Islam positively affirmed commercialism as testified to by numerous verses regarding commercialism in the Quran and guaranteed free commercial activities as well. Muslim merchants spearheaded East-West trade while traveling around the world, including Europe, Africa, and Asia. They made inroads into India, Southeast Asia, China, and Korea through the Silk Road and sea routes, and traded a wide variety of goods including fur and gold. Along with their commercial activities came dynamic cultural exchange between the East and the West, and Islam was able to spread along the trading routes of these merchants. The capital of the Abbasid dynasty, Baghdad, with its population of over 1 million people, became the central trade hub and was called the center of the world.
Is Sinbad in Arabian Nights a real person? Baghdad was the capital of several Islamic empires and an important hub for East-West trade. It is also a mystical city that appears in the background of Arabian Nights, the essence of Persian literature. Arabian Nights originated from a Persian book called 1001 Arabian Nights, which contains legendary stories from Persia, Egypt, and India. This book contains various stories from around the world at that time, from the story of the Abbasid dynasty to the story of defeating the Crusaders, the story of Egypt, and the story of Mongolia. The famous stories Aladdin's Wonderful Lamp, Sinbad's Adventures, and Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves are also included in Arabian Nights. Sinbad from Arabian Nights had various adventures while sailing the Indian Ocean. In fact, Sinbad is not one person's name. Originally, it means Sind's wind, referring to traders who used monsoon winds to trade.
Development of natural sciences. The Islamic world saw the development of the natural sciences that combined Indian and Greek sciences. In astronomy, Muslim scholars explained that the Earth was a sphere and also created a solar calendar. While researching alchemy, they advanced chemical experimentation methods and alloy technology. In addition, they drew human anatomy supported by advanced medical science, and medical books written by Muslim scholars were used as textbooks in colleges in Europe during the Middle Ages. They accepted the concept of zero from India and perfected the Arabic numeral. Since the Islamic society was dynamic with trade, they were able to blend diverse cultures from Greece, India, and China and restructure them. The resulting Islamic culture was introduced to Europe and became the foundation of Renaissance culture.
How did Islam's natural science influence modern science? In Islamic regions with vast deserts, astronomy developed because the moon and stars had to be relied on for travel at night. Islamic scientists were able to determine time, latitude, and longitude using astrolabes, which was passed down to Europe and influenced the development of European navigation. They were also interested in alchemy, stemming from the desire to gold, which led to the development of chemistry. In particular, since distillation was devised in the Islamic world, terms such as alkali and alcohol, derived from Arabic, are still used. In medicine, medical books written by Ibn Sina were used as textbooks in European medical schools until the 17th century.
Development of Islamic culture. The Islamic world developed poems and tales based on imagination. One of the most well-known pieces of Islamic literature is 1001 Nights. In art, the most popular type of painting was elaborate miniature painting, which evolved into a traditional Islamic art. The most iconic architecture style can be found in mosques, which refer to the place of worship for Muslims. Mosques are marked by a round dome shape, slim tower, and beautiful arabesque decorations.
Why is the image of God not represented in mosques? A mosque consists of a round dome, roof, and pointed towers, and is decorated with arabesque patterns. Because Quran law prohibits iconolatry, Muslims do not draw or sculpt religious figures. Also, they do not draw living things, such as plants, flowers, or animals. Instead of imitating nature in this way, the Arabs decorated mosques by making designs using only straight lines and curves. This pattern is called arabesque.